Shoot your arrows! Cooper Kupp plucks it out of the air and gives the Rams the lead. Robert Woods, touchdown! LA! Dog goes crashing into the end zone. Aaron Donald almost beat the football there. Corey Littleton, have yourself a day. Picked off. Marcus Peters coming off the edge. And Ryan will be wrapped up by Clay Matthews. Everett in stride! Wow!
Franklin Myers gets his hand down there.
Weddle got a hand on it. Did he pick it? He did!
Racing down the sideline is Akeem Talib. Gurley for MVP! Touchdown LA!
Picked off by John Johnson.
Well, it's Dante Fowler who is able to get to breathe. Greg Zuerlein sends the Rams to the Super Bowl! LA will play for the Lombardi!
Welcome back, guys, to another Downtown Rams podcast. It's episode 204. I'm your host, Jake Ellenbogen. Joining me, of course, is Alexis Kraft. It's another draft season podcast, so we have a bunch more before the draft, kind of winding down here. We have plenty of interviews to get out to you guys, and we hope you guys are really enjoying this. Today, it's another trifecta. We have Wisconsin running back Taiwan Deal. We have USC tight end Tyler Petite, and Ole Miss wide receiver Floyd Allen coming on the show. If you don't know, Taiwan Deal is a running back that has been battling some injuries throughout his college career, but very talented. He ran as well with Jonathan Taylor, who is right up there for the Heisman Trophy candidates for next season. Tyler Petite talks about his time, playing with Sam Darnold. And, of course, Ole Miss wide receiver Floyd Allen was a viral sensation, a guy that, his story, basically he got a full-ride scholarship that he earned, and it was a viral video from Ole Miss practice. So if you haven't seen that, definitely check that out. But, enjoy the podcast. And if you like what you hear, be sure to subscribe and leave a review on any platform, you get this from. So, take care, guys, and enjoy the show. All right, join the podcast, Wisconsin running back Taiwan Deal. How's it going, man? Thanks so much for coming on.
How you guys doing? It's going pretty well, just enjoying, the warmer weather on the East Coast and having a little fun at home. How about you?
Yeah, we're good. We're excited to talk to you. And just to start it off, we just kind of want to hear a little bit about how you got into the game of football.
Yeah, so, a brief story about how I got into football. I started playing football when I was in 8th grade, about 13 years old. Really was, I really just chilled, most of my life. I used to box early on when I was like 8 years old and 10 years old, but I got into boxing when I was 13. Not boxing, but football, but I never really, was really interested in football. I just woke up one day and asked my dad, I was like, could I play football? So then, my mom actually was driving home one day and saw a car that had a rec league, that I can join and things like that. So, I went out there, impressed those guys, just my first time ever, playing football, and impressed them, had a pretty good season. As an 8th grader playing unlimited, pretty much played every position, DN, tight end, running back, kicker, punter, you name it, I was out there playing it. And, we went to the championship, lost in the championship, but it was, definitely a fun experience for me. And, I got recruited to go play. I don't know if you guys know about the, Washington, D.C. area, but it's a Catholic conference, high school Catholic conference in my area that's recognized all over the country. So I got recruited from, several schools in the conference, and I decided to go to DeMatha, and that's where my, journey to football started. I played tight end and DN, and then, my sophomore year when I made it on varsity, they switched me to running back, and, the rest was history.
That's awesome, man. And growing up, did you have a favorite NFL player you looked up to?
I always liked Eric Dickerson. And the reason why I say that is because I don't know, he was just a bigger back. He was really tall, and he just could do things that small backs could do. And I knew that going into it, I wanted to be a big back, and I wanted to look small on the field. I wanted to have quick feet and be fast and things like that. So, guys like Eric Dickerson and Adrian Peterson, that was, those were my role models, and those are the guys I looked up to, looking up their YouTube videos and things like that. So.
Yeah, of course. And, you mentioned a little bit kind of the recruiting process for high school, but there also came a time where there was a recruiting process for college, and you ended up choosing Wisconsin. What was the main factor for you in choosing to continue your football career there?
Well, it was actually weird, I didn't go into high school at all, thinking I would play football, at that level. And, I believed in my abilities and believed in, I was a good player because I compete. I love to compete, and I think I can compete with anybody in the country. But, going into high school, I didn't expect, to be getting college offers, right after my freshman year and stuff like that. So, what made me choose Wisconsin, was, just the fact that I connected with the coaching staff. Actually in high school, I really watched Monty Ball a lot. And I was just like, wow, Wisconsin, it's nothing up there. Why would I go there? But, he's up there and he's killing it. And, it's a perfect system for him. He's in a pro-style offense, such and such. I was comparing everything. And then, one day I just got a message on Facebook from a Wisconsin coach, and I was just blown away. And, Coach Thomas Hammock, he's now the head coach at NIU, but, me and him chopped it up a lot and talked, and he, convinced me that Wisconsin was his place, so I believed in that, and I went on a visit, and it was just, I loved it. I fell in love with Wisconsin. It was, a lot different from the, D.C. area. People were really nice up there. The campus was beautiful. Coaching staff I connected with well. I just saw a future there, and I saw a big future. So, out of my other choices like Michigan State, Purdue, Iowa, Pitt, all them other schools, I hunkered down and I was like, yeah, I think Wisconsin is the right place. So, I committed right after my visit, like a day after.
That's awesome, man. And, you mentioned Monty Ball. He ends up being kind of a throwback name, but I totally remember, he was running all over. It's funny because you said, you grew up in, Eric Dickerson was like your favorite. So Monty Ball, I guess something with Wisconsin running backs, loving Rams running backs, because his favorite was Marshall Faulk. So I thought that was that cool parallel there. But, just kind of, going through your college career, what would you say is your favorite memory while at Wisconsin?
I got asked this, a lot this senior year. My last year, I got asked this a lot. And, when you put in 4.5 years in a program and blood, sweat, tears, all that other stuff, waking up early, you have a lot of good memories. I've had a ton of good memories and things I've done in games, all of that stuff. But the biggest thing that, I could take away from Wisconsin is just the relationships and the, bond I had with my teammates. It's like no other. Like it's nothing like waking up on a Saturday morning or a Friday morning, 4 a.m., 5 a.m., and you got to go out there and compete and work out and finish your workout. And then after the workout, everyone's in the locker room partying, playing music, just talking about what we're going to do for the weekend and hanging out and stuff like that. So that's my greatest memory, is doing those type of things with my teammates.
Yeah, definitely. It definitely seems like, that would be something you're going to remember forever and look back at your time at Wisconsin and think fondly of for sure. And you went up against a lot of tough competition during your time at Wisconsin. You guys played against top-notch talent, top-notch teams. But is there one guy who stands out to you as being the toughest guy that you had to go up against in college?
Not really. Yeah, I could name a couple of guys, but not. I could say this year I actually don't know the guy's name well, but I know he played for Rutgers. I think he was a sophomore, maybe a junior, and he wore jersey number 3. But he was a linebacker, and on special teams when I went up against him, that year he challenged me that game, and I had to come with a different game plan of how to beat him and stuff like that. So I would say last year he challenged me, and I'm pretty sure he's going to be a guy in the next couple years that hopefully will be getting drafted or going into this, process, of making a team or going to the NFL, whatever he does.
Yeah, and you mentioned the process, and I just kind of want to get your thoughts and just, what you've been doing this pre-draft process. Like, take me through, an every day of Taiwan Deal. Well,
there comes a time, you got to stay focused and disciplined, and you got to see the big picture. This process can tear people down. It could, lift you up. It can make you forget who you are. But this process, my process, on a daily basis is, how can I get better? It's not about getting better all that day, but you got time. Like I just look at it as I have time. I have time to work on certain things that I need to get better at. If it's working on my single leg strength, one leg is stronger than the other. So balancing that out or whatever, if it's working on my agility, my speed, strength, core, all that type of stuff. So, during this process, for instance, now, after, all of the pro day stuff and working out, now you got to get prepared for camps. So, nutrition is a big part in this whole process too. That's one thing that, I've stuck to is a meal plan. And I've been sticking to that. I've not, cheated, no fried foods, none of that stuff. So I know sometimes guys can, hey, we just did 8 weeks of combine training and then they go and, just eat whatever they want, They don't want to do those meal plans, but I've been, staying focused, sticking with those meal plans, this whole process, and I can, feel it and see a change in my body. And, I just want to continue to, keep that going. But basically my day is just, wake up, work out. I always make breakfast, drink me some coffee because that's a must before my workout. And then, I get ready, take a shower, head to my coach's gym, work out, do whatever, we do there. And if we do extra stuff, we'll come back in at night and work out. But in between that, I might jump in the ice tub, So it's just, every day right now, you're just training your body, getting strong and fast and getting in shape. Or staying in shape.
Yeah, that's awesome,
Hello?
man.
Awesome.
No, I totally hear you there, 100%. You got to keep doing what you're doing and, keep grinding, and it becomes it's a job that you're not right now getting paid for, but, it's pretty awesome, obviously, that you're doing that, and obviously you're staying in shape, and, I think you're definitely going to make some noise in the NFL or wherever the next step is. But, how would you say your pro day experience was?
My pro day experience was, pretty good, besides the fact that I didn't do everything at pro day, but my pro day experience was good. I was nervous, but that's just, the jitters and stuff that you get before you got 30-something scouts there in front of you, and, you just thinking about stuff, but it brings the best out of you, when you get that pressure, and the adrenaline running through your body, it brings good things out of you. Some guys run way faster than they expected and all sorts of things. So, I thought my experience was really good. Would I do it again? Probably not. I'm glad that's over with, but it was a good experience.
Yeah, absolutely. And, what would you consider your biggest strength as a player to be?
My biggest strength as a player, I feel, is, just my ability to adapt to adversity and, just figure out a way to battle, push through things and, be tough and, stuff like that. I think, going against adversity is like my biggest strength is, I've had adversity my entire career at Wisconsin, and it's a part of me. And I love challenges and I love going and competing. So, I love it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Obviously, that competitive nature, you can't really teach that, but you either have it or you don't. But with that being said, kind of going to the next level, what would you say is one area in your game that you're looking to improve in?
I honestly want to improve more or show teams that I can do everything that a little back can do. I can catch the ball, I can juke, have quick feet. So I feel like I need to improve on, that type of stuff, catching the ball, second levels, burst, just things like that. In college, you play and you just run and things like that. But, at the NFL, the next level it's a whole different ball game, and you gotta adapt, That's the biggest thing. You gotta adapt to, whatever system and whatever program you're in.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely can agree, that it's a different animal, the NFL. But kind of tying in a little bit into the biggest strength question, but how would you describe your style as running back, and what is a team going to get from you if they pick you to be their running back?
If a team picks me to be their running back, they're going to get a guy that is going to match the level of competition with, any running back that's in the room, whether it's a starter, whatever, because I get better, as time goes, like as I get in a new system or with a new coach or around new players, I develop their same skills. I want to be just as good as them. So you're going to get a person that's going to be disciplined. Of course, a big part of my game is my film study and knowing protections, knowing all that type of stuff. So they should get a guy that's, going to be, sharp, with, film and, studying plays, all that type of stuff, because I take that really serious. And on top of that, it's just more than playing running back. They're going to get a guy that's going to play special teams. I'm a special teamer. That's what I did in college. I have no problem with playing special teams. I know some guys just, they want to stick to one position, but, I'm going to do it all. I'm going to do whatever I got to do for the team. So.
Yeah, I think that's definitely the best way to put that. I find it really unfortunate, and I don't think you seem like somebody that would kind of still have regrets or anything like that. But you did deal with some injuries in college, and I want to ask you, what that whole experience was like, and how you've kind of moved past that. And obviously, you made it work, when you came back from injury. But what was it like going through that, and do you feel like it helps you, to the next level?
Oh man, it was tough. I guess, like I said earlier, adversity definitely played a part in my, entire career because, it was a year and a half or two that I wasn't healthy because of, ankle injuries. And, it's tough because being a Division I athlete, and this is what a lot of people, they put aside the whole mental aspect of life and the mental health of players and stuff like that. But it was just tough to see people, running the ball, scoring touchdowns, doing things that you couldn't do when you knew you could go out there and do the same thing, or you knew that you can go out there and just be on the field and play, even if you weren't starting or anything. You just wanted to be out there and play. And it's tough, not being able to do that and continuously going through injury after injury. And, injuries, they take time to heal. And that healing process, waking up early in the morning, doing rehab every day, staying consistent with that, trying to get better. And, the biggest thing that sucks about all of those things is, you get yourself to this level where, you love what you have become. You've put in work. You've done things to make your agility better. You're quicker, faster, stronger, all that stuff. And then, boom, you get injured and that's all taken away and you got to fight back and do it all over again. So, I just attacked it. My dad stayed on me, kept me motivated, kept me up. My family was one of my biggest motivations because I never want to let them down, and I never wanted to, let them see that I would, crawl under, a car and be weak and not fight back. So I definitely, fought through everything. Hey, it was a time where I was considered the 6th or 5th string running back, and I came back, fought my way all the way too, and got carries behind Jonathan Taylor this year, all years. So it was tough, but I got through it. I fought back, and I'm just thankful for it. If you put me up against the wall, I'm always gonna come back out fighting. That's just my mentality.
Yeah, of course. I respect that a lot, having been someone who I was a collegiate athlete and went through injuries. And I know that feeling of being, frustrated and bummed, just wanting to be out there and contribute and help out your team. But, it says a lot, I think, about a person who fights back and who, gets back on top once they get better and just keeps grinding. So I really can appreciate and respect that for sure. This next question is actually kind of a fun question that we just like to ask running backs who come on our show, just because we're curious of what your answer would be. But who would you most want to juke by to score a game-winning touchdown in the NFL?
That's a good question. It would have to be a safety for me. And, maybe like a guy like Derwin James, maybe Jamal Adams, those type of guys. I know Jamal Adams is a big hitter, so, it would be great to juke that guy and, score a touchdown.
Yeah, we always love asking that because we have a fun series of questions we ask different positions, but the juke is just I don't know, every running back we've asked just like laughs when we ask it because it's just when you juke a guy out of their shoes, I mean that's just so disrespectful. There's no other way to really say it. So you did that quite a bit in college, of course, but moving on, this is a Rams podcast, so I have to ask you, Taiwan, have you met or spoken with the Los Angeles Rams throughout this process?
When I was at the NFLPA game, I actually did speak and meet with a Rams scout. I actually did.
That's awesome. Yeah, we love to hear that because, Jake and I are big fans of your game and love watching you play. And we've loved talking to you. So we would be so excited for you to end up a Los Angeles Ram. But no matter where you end up, we're going to stay fans of you and follow your career because we really can't wait to see what you do at the next level. So hopefully it's, as a Ram, but if not, we'll be cheering you on either way.
Yeah, I would love to be behind, Todd Gurley, just how CJ Anderson complimented him so well last year. So, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. And, just to wrap it up in your own words, who is Taiwan Deal as a player and who is he as a person?
Taiwan Deal as a player, I'm going to be a disciplined player who's going to come out and compete and fight, never going to give up. That's one thing about me. I'm never going to give up. And, as a person, I'm kind of a quiet, chill, mellow guy. I, hunt, fish, play video games, and I just chill.
Love that, man. It's been a blast interviewing you, and you're a really nice dude, and we're glad to have you on the show, and just really glad you're able to overcome such devastating injuries. I mean, like it's really been impressive what you've been able to do, and some people would say you've been dealt a bad deck of cards, but it doesn't seem like you really care. You're just trying to keep your head down, do your own thing, and we really respect that and commend you for that. So with that being said, man, good luck the rest of the way. Stay healthy, and let's keep in touch, man.
Oh yeah, no doubt. Thank you guys. Thank you so much.
All right, joining us on the podcast, we have USC tight end Tyler Petite. How's it going, man? Thanks so much for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's going great.
Awesome. And just to start this, we kind of want to get to know, how did you get into the game of football?
Well, growing up, there was a football camp down the street from my high school. Or at my high school, down the street from me. And, I kind of just, it was just sort of a thing that kids my age did. We would just grow up. We would go to this football camp every year. I actually started out playing flag football, but this is like the first time that I was really able to play tackle football. And, I really looked up to the guys that were playing on Friday nights. And, I knew that I kind of wanted to be like them. And, once I really got the opportunity to play at high school football and get to know like what football really is, I fell in love instantly.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. And growing up, did you have a favorite player in the NFL?
Not particularly. I was actually a much bigger fan of college football. When I was playing flag football, our games were on Saturdays, like in the morning. So I'd come home and I just would watch college football all day and just, how the atmosphere was and how the fans are. And, I grew up watching SC. I grew up going to Cal games, like when Marshawn Lynch was there. And just like kind of seeing that atmosphere, that was another thing that kind of was put in my head. Like, wow, I think like I would want to play in a stadium, kind of like this with people cheering for me. And so that was like kind of the bigger thing for me for a long time, was just watching college ball.
Yeah. So then when it came time for you to get to play college ball yourself, you ended up choosing USC. What was the main factor for you in choosing there?
Well, I actually, when I first kind of going through the process, I ended up committing to Duke early on. And, I really liked what Coach Cutcliffe was doing, and, they seemed to have a really great team and a mixture of, great academics with really great athletics. But, I kind of, it was kind of creeping out like my senior season, and my dad and I just sat down and, he kind of like, we had gone on a couple visits to SC, and he just looked at me and he goes, you have one shot at this. So I just want to make sure that you think you're making the right decision. And that kind of just sat with me. And, I looked at SC and looked at the Coliseum, the tradition and the history at SC. And, it's kind of a no-brainer after that. I was like, I got one shot at this, so why not do it in the Coliseum? And that was kind of the the final thing for me, and so I ended up switching.
Yeah, and that's awesome, man. 100%. I've been to the Coliseum twice for 2 Rams games, and it's unreal. Just a different atmosphere, and it's legendary, of course. But with that being said, playing at USC, what was your favorite memory?
You got to put the Rose Bowl up there. Probably right at the top, just because living in California my whole life and growing up watching SC play and just knowing what kind of history we had at the Rose Bowl and, what it really means to our school winning a Rose Bowl. And so being able to play in a Rose Bowl game and win in that kind of fashion was just, it was something I'll never forget. You couldn't draw it up any better, really. Winning on a game-winning field goal, it's just, giving me chills now just thinking about it. So that one's definitely top memory right there.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely, I think a good pick. And, you went up against a lot of tough competition during your time at USC, but is there one guy who maybe stands out to you as being the toughest guy you had to go up against?
I think playing Ohio State, obviously Bosa gets like a really good rep. And, I think for as like big and strong as he is, I think something that really stood out to me against Ohio State was just the fact that, you see a lot of guys in college that maybe just kind of have freak athletic ability, which he does. And, maybe sometimes rely on that. Like, I went up against Solomon Thomas as well. And, I think he's a great player, but, something about Bosa and just that whole defensive line group, like they just went hard all the time. And so like the combination of, just giving it your all the time, plus the technique and just freak athletic ability that he had, that would put him at the top for me. Just a fierce competitor, and, it made my life fun that game, but, it was cool to be able to go up against a guy like that and kind of put my skills to the test.
Yeah, no, he's going to either go 1, 2, or 3, I would say, in this draft, so definitely not a bad pick there. Want to ask you, how was your pro day? Because obviously you go through this process, and, pro day is kind of like a send-off almost. It's your last time, kind of, competing with the same teammates that you're going to the draft with.
Yeah, it was great. Inside, I didn't really, do as great as I had hoped for. But, I think I settled in really nicely. I was really happy with how I performed outside on the field, going through the drills and running routes and doing all that. But, it was just kind of weird. It's just surreal a little bit because you just grow up at SC. The past 3 years I'd been watching guys, and, Sam Darnold was my roommate for most of my time at SC. And so like, seeing him out at pro day the previous year, and, finally it was our time. And, you train for months and months. Once I got back from winter break, I started training in January, and then, it's like all this training for this one day for like a few hours. And so like when it was done, it felt a little bit weird. Like, it was almost like graduating again in a way.
Yeah, definitely. I can see how it could feel like that. And as Jake said, it's kind of like a final send-off. So it's probably really surreal, and to go through that process and know that, that's the last time you're competing with your teammates. But, I just kind of want to touch a little bit on what would you consider your biggest strength as a player to be?
I think it's honestly, I would think that it's my knowledge of the game. I think being able to have like freak athletic ability, that's great, but that's not really something that you can control necessarily. And, I just think like with the way that I can read defense and the way like how coachable I am, and just able to implement things on the field maybe faster than some other guys can. I think that's probably my greatest strength, just being able to play at a faster level because I just kind of know what's going on and have a good feel for things.
Yeah, and Tyler, as the NFL draft approaches, what's one area in your game that you're really looking to improve on?
I think the biggest thing is probably just my hands, not in the passing game, but more so in the run game, just being able to fit my hands in the right spot, where they're supposed to be every time, just more of a consistent strike. I think that's probably the biggest thing that I want to do. I did have a goal of becoming a better route runner and getting faster in and out of my breaks, but I've been working with a guy out by Orange County who's really kind of helped me on that, so I feel really comfortable. That would have been my first one, but I feel much more comfortable with my route running ability now, so I'd probably say my hand placement is the biggest thing.
Yeah, and just looking at your game and looking at how you play, do you have anyone that you've tried to model your game after? Maybe a couple guys who you've kind of looked at their game and tried to incorporate elements of theirs into your own?
Yeah, no, for sure. This past season, being a senior really helped me. I had a lot more time to kind of devote to watching tape. And not just SC tape or our opponent's tape, but other guys' tape. And two guys that I really watch. One, Jason Witten. I think we have kind of similar body types and we move in similar ways. And so just being able to watch him and see what he does, just to see how I can maybe incorporate some of that stuff into my game. And the second guy is Rhett Ellison. Former SC Trojan, and they have an award at SC named after him, and they used to call him the Machine, just because you asked him to do something and he was going to do it, and he plays for the Giants right now, and he's not necessarily the biggest pass catching guy since they have Ingram, but we just watched tape on his pass sets and on how he run blocks and just kind of how he is at the point of attack. And it's really awesome to see this guy who, maybe probably a lot of people have no idea who this guy is, but, he just signed a new deal with the Giants because he's just consistent and he does things the right way. So just being able to watch him and kind of see what he does, and that enables him to continue to play the game. That's kind of something that I really admire about him and try and incorporate into my own game.
Yeah, I like both of those picks. You talk about Rhett Ellison, and obviously everyone knows Jason Witten, but I agree with you. I think Rhett Ellison doesn't get enough credit. And, Eli Manning's somebody that really has started to rely on his tight ends over the years. So I think it's a perfect fit for him. But I also got to say, when you talk about, how he is obviously as a blocker, those guys oftentimes get kind of, forgotten. But they're the sneaky good pass catchers that can, make a living doing that. So, I agree. Because I would say I definitely see that in your game. I think you are fairly similar to Rhett Ellison. I believe he used to play for the Vikings, and he did sign with the Giants. I think it's a good fit. Mm-hmm. But, no, I love that you bring that up, and you didn't just bring up, the usual Jimmy Graham and, just, all the big time, the big name tight ends. So, Gronkowski, all of that. But, that being said, oh, sorry, what were you saying?
No, I was just going to say, speaking about on Gronk real quick, I think that just, as great as a pass catcher as Gronkowski was, I guess now since he retired, but I think this past season really showed how important it is to block as a tight end. Because, he had a ton of great plays catching the ball, but there were a lot, even just watching, in the later half of the season, just watching him make some incredible blocks that opened up really big runs. And I think, a lot of people and granted that's more so fans, I guess, but they kind of get lost in the, a tight end as a pass catcher. And, my coach always used to tell me, a tight end that can't block is easily replaced by a receiver, but if you can block, then there's no position like you on the field. So, it's important. I guess I just don't want to lose my roots. I want to make sure that I stick to the things that would separate me from other guys on the field.
Oh, I 100% agree with that. And I think, you look at somebody like George Kittle, who's been on the show before, and I mean, he used to block people into the ground. I mean, he would literally just, bury you 6 feet under. And then everyone was shocked when they saw him as a receiver. And I think that's great that you mentioned that with Gronkowski, because it's like, to the casual fan, he's this big 6'7" physical specimen, but he is one of the best blocking tight ends as well. So, completely agree with you there. But I kind of want to ask you, a fun question we like to ask any receivers that come on this show. And that question is, who do you most want to moss at the next level?
Oh, my gosh. Wow, I haven't really thought of that. I think it'd be pretty cool to moss a guy like Luke Kuechly, just because, I mean, he came and worked out with us over this last summer, him and the Khalil brothers. And, I mean, he's just such a specimen. He's just such a beast. And he came out and it was like a hard team run day, like our hardest run day. And he was just he was cooking guys. Like, came out here one day and was just absolutely beasting on kids. And so that'd be a pretty cool one, I think, just because of the rep that he's built and what kind of athlete he is. I think that'd be a cool one for me.
Yeah, absolutely. And this next question is kind of has a similar nature to that one, but who would you most want to catch a touchdown pass from in the NFL?
Honestly, I'd want to catch one from Sam. Just kind of the pass that we've had, and we grew up at SC. Like, that was, we were part of the class that we were like the first full recruiting class, like right after the sanctions had ended. And, he's just such a good guy. He treated me great as a teammate and as a friend throughout my time at SC. And, I think my junior year, we had a really great connection on the field. And so if I could catch one from him, that'd be pretty cool. But if I were to go like maybe legend of the game, I'd probably have to go with Tom Brady, just because, I mean, there's no one better that's done it. So if I could catch a touchdown from the two of them, that'd be pretty awesome.
No, that's great, man. I don't know how honest I've been, because I'm actually I like USC. I don't know if I even led that on. So I remember watching that Rose Bowl game. I mean, just seeing the amount of talent in that game. Obviously Saquon Barkley, and no one was talking about him on the other side, but Sam Darnold, kind of leading that team, starting off slow that year, and just seeing what you guys were able to do. And it's really cool. I mean, because I'm a big Kansas Jayhawks fan, but I'm also a big USC fan. And my co-host has her teams as well, Mizzou and Notre Dame. So I don't know. It's weird with college, because in the pros, like, this is a Ram-based podcast, of course, and it just seems like in the pros it's so much easier to hook onto one team than in college. You kind of like a bunch of teams. You know what I mean? Right. So it's I really appreciate what you guys did. Obviously, what you did at USC. I don't know if I made that clear enough, but you mentioned Sam, so you kind of opened the door for me.
No, thank you. I appreciate that. I mean, it was a fun time, and it was just cool to kind of feel like for a minute there that we were kind of back into the glory days of what it was, and just being able to kind of give the fans some really awesome years and some good victories, just to kind of let them know that SC hasn't gone anywhere.
Oh, I 100% agree. And, I'm excited to see, JT kind of, develop into his own. And, I think the program's in good hands. I would say the same with my Jayhawks as well. I mean, there are different eras, and I think, college teams they'll go through a down year. They'll go through, some unfortunate years, obviously. We won't get into the whole whether or not it's fair that USC lost all the scholarships, but, things like that kind of. Yeah, so things like that happen, and it's just, to see what they were able to do, what you were able to do, and you guys, really turned the corner, I thought, and, put yourselves back on the map as a, historic program. It was impressive. But, of course, as I mentioned, kind of segue into this, Los Angeles Rams podcast, so I have to ask you, Tyler, have you met or spoken with the Los Angeles Rams throughout this process?
No, I haven't at all. I think, actually, hold on, scratch that. Maybe at Pro Day. I know I talked to a guy from the Chargers, and I think there was a guy from the Rams there as well. But other than that, I haven't really had much communication.
I got you. Well, we, Jake and I certainly hope that, you end up a Los Angeles Ram, because we are fans of you and love watching your game. But no matter where you go, we're going to stay fans of you. We're going to follow your career, because we really have been blown away by you and have enjoyed talking to you, and believe that you're going to do big things at the NFL level. So we can't wait to see what's in store for you. This is only just the beginning. I know we're about a little under 2 weeks away now, so it's kind of crazy how the draft has kind of snuck up on us and how quick it's coming. But and probably for you, it's probably more surprising for you how fast it's approaching. But just to wrap it up in your own words, who is Tyler Petite as a player, and who is he as a person?
As a player, I would say that I'm just a dependable guy that can get the job done, does what's asked of him without hesitation, and extremely coachable, and a great teammate. And as a person, I would just say that I'm a fun-loving guy. I play the game of football because it's fun at the end of the day. I think a lot of people get carried away and sometimes forget that, it's still a sport and a game, and that it's supposed to be enjoyed. So I just kind of bring a good attitude to things, and, I just try and be as dependable and respectful as possible as a human being. And, I think that helps me both on and off the field.
Yeah, I definitely agree, man. It's been a pleasure having you on, Tyler. It really has. Love being able to get your story and get to know you a little bit. And, man, we wish you the best of luck. And no matter what team you're on, we're going to be rooting for you. So, stay healthy. Good luck, and let's keep in touch.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you both for having me. I really appreciate it.
All right, joining the show, we have Ole Miss wide receiver Floyd Allen. How's it going, man? Thanks so much for coming on.
No, thank you. Thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah, of course. And, just to start this off, we just want to hear a little bit about how you got into the game of football.
Actually, football was like my second love. My first love was track. Then all my friends got into Little League football, so, it was just natural for me to join up with them, and I just fell in love with it ever since.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. And, growing up, did you have a favorite NFL player? And if so, who was it?
It was funny. Before I ever played receiver, my favorite football player was Steve Smith. I just thought he was, the best thing since sliced bread. So the fact that I turned to a receiver and I modeled my game after him, so that's something that's crazy.
Yeah, and you when it came time for you to play in college, you went to JUCO and then ended up committing to Ole Miss. What was the main factor for you in choosing there?
Just an opportunity. When I was in junior college and I got hurt, all the schools that were recruiting me at the time all kind of disappeared. But Coach Pillar was just that one coach who just saw the talent in me and was just knew that, all I needed was opportunity. And he was just the guy that, came to me and just, gave me opportunity.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Love that you came from JUCO, and obviously that you went to Ole Miss. Ole Miss had quite a few studs, including yourself. Just an incredible group of receivers. I mean, you talk about obviously DK Metcalf, AJ Brown, DeMarcus Lodge, and no one mentions him, but Dawson Knox as well. So I just want to get your thoughts on what it was like to play with all those guys.
It was a little nerve-wracking at first coming in, because I knew that, this is the best receiving core in the country, and that I couldn't come in half-stepping, that I had to, come in, ready to go, at any moment, just because, I realized, coming in that, that's a room full of sharks, and either you're going to become a shark or you're going to be a goldfish, and, I'm glad I made the choice to become a shark.
Yeah, absolutely. And, just playing with those guys and playing at Ole Miss, you probably have a lot of awesome memories from your time there. And, do you have a favorite moment or a favorite play or game from your time playing at Ole Miss?
I could say my favorite moment was probably the first game that I stepped out on Val Hemingway versus Tennessee Martin. And it was just so crazy, because coming out the tunnel, you could hear the roars of the crowd, but it was kind of low. Then as you closer got to the field, then once you stepped out of the tunnel, it just got loud. Like, it was the first time me ever hearing 60,000 plus fans just screaming. So like it was a beautiful Saturday. So it was just crazy. Like, I literally teared up as I ran down towards the end zone.
Wow, that's insane. I mean, that must have been awesome, though. I mean, really, getting to play in the SEC must have been just something else, really. Yeah. I mean, well, it's just every week you guys are going against, some guy that's going to be, the starting corner for another team in the NFL, or, it must be just insane. But, kind of going into my question here, who's the toughest player you went up against in college?
Toughest player. I can't name any one person. I know what I can. It was the 12th man for Texas A&M this last season, and on kickoff, man, he was just a man on a mission. I can't remember his name, but I just remember his number, because he was trying to give me the blues all day on kickoff. So much respect to him. He was just a man on a mission.
Yeah, and, this next question, there might not be an answer to. There might be a few answers to. But is there anyone that you modeled your game after, or tried to mimic parts of their game and incorporate it into your own?
Well, there's a multitude of people. I'm the type of person who takes, what a lot of people are good at and just, taking it, add to my game. But I can say the main people that, I modeled my game after was obviously Steve Smith. Stephon Diggs is one of my favorite guys. Keenan Allen, and probably Antonio Brown for sure.
Yeah, those are all great names, obviously, and they're all guys that just have unbelievably quick feet, and I think that's really the key. I mean, obviously you have to be able to catch the football in order to be a receiver, but getting off that line of scrimmage, being deceptive, not tipping your hand to where you're going to go, and I think all those guys really are good in that area of their game, but. I want to ask you, what would you say is your biggest strength about your game?
My biggest strength, my route running. I think that, I'm one of the best route runners that, we had on the team. There's not really a lot of my game that, I feel is a weakness, but as far as strengths, like, I feel like I'm really a well-rounded individual.
Yeah, and as the draft approaches, is there anything that you're looking to improve on?
Looking to improve on just everything. Even though I don't feel there's any weakness in my game, there's a lot of room to improve on a lot of things. I could always become a better route runner. I was working on catching, different types of passes. I could always work on being a better blocker. So there's a lot that I want to improve on. I feel like as far as my potential, I feel like, I'm barely just scratching the surface. I'm anxious to meet with a lot of different players and a lot of different coaches and just take, bits and pieces from everyone and just improving myself.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that, 100%. And, just kind of switching gears here, we like asking, like, the fun NFL question, like who would you like to most catch a touchdown pass from in the NFL?
Easily Tom Brady. Tom Brady's been, when I played quarterback in high school, Tom Brady was my favorite player to watch just because he came from being an underdog. He's like the biggest underdog in NFL history, in my opinion. And he just, become, the greatest quarterback to ever play the game. So if I could ever catch a pass from him, that would be crazy.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think that's a popular answer we get for sure, because as you mentioned, he's, probably the greatest of all time. And it would be certainly awesome to catch a touchdown pass from him for sure. But, we are a Los Angeles Rams podcast, so we ask every prospect that comes on our show, have you met or talked with the Los Angeles Rams?
I have yet to talk with them. Hopefully, they know who I am, and hopefully, come draft day, they may, give me a call. I'd love to go back to LA.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I think it's really cool, that you were able to obviously, suit up and play for, this Ole Miss team that, like you said earlier, this was the best receiver group in the country. And, I think people may, they may overlook you, but I think that's exactly why, you talk about the underdog story. I think you're set up very well because, and it's no knock against your teammates, but, obviously everyone was talking about Metcalf's like abs on all over social media. And, it's A.J. Brown obviously is getting his fair share of talk. And, even like DeMarcus he's a little underrated for sure, but he gets some talk as well. And, you're extremely underrated. And I think, obviously the next level, I think that's really going to be where, you're kind of laughing the last. So, regardless of, which teams meet with you, we're definitely, we're for sure, convinced that you're going to make an impact at the next level. And we're excited for it for sure.
Yes, sir. I'm blessed just to have an opportunity to, play for Ole Miss, and even more blessed to have an opportunity to be seen as an NFL, prospect. So whatever team, decides to give me, just know, again, I play with some of the best receivers in college football. So, there's nothing that, I haven't seen or haven't done myself that, makes me feel that, I should be, a top guy as well.
Yes, absolutely. Totally agree with that and love that answer. And, to wrap it up, just kind of in your own words, who is Floyd Allen as a player and who is he as a person?
As a player, a route technician, a hard worker, a humble guy who, never gives any trouble, just comes in to work, gets his job done and just enjoy the game of football. And as far as a person, I'm just a laid-back guy. Again, I eat, sleep, and drink football, so that's all I ever love to do is just, play football, get better at football. And if I'm not doing football, I'm probably on the Xbox playing 2K, Call of Duty. So, again, I'm just a very humble guy, just looking for opportunities. I don't really need, all 32 teams to call me on draft day. I just need one team that's going to call me, that's going to believe in me.
Absolutely.
Yeah, 100%. Totally agree with that. That's really the mindset to have, because, I've from my experience just doing these interviews, oftentimes I'll actually get like stories about guys that were drafted by teams that didn't even show interest in them. And I think the craziest thing about this draft game is we all talk about the visits, and Alexis and I are very guilty of that because we all want to, we want to know, like, have you met with the Rams and all that. But at the end of the day, that does not mean that, any of those guys are guaranteed to be drafted by that said team. And a lot of the times it's, again, a chess match where, you don't want to say if, someone out there is like, I really believe this kid at Ole Miss, Floyd Allen, is being, overlooked. He's under the radar. We have him high on our board. Why tip our hand and, put out that, we're having a private visit with him and have that get leaked out to the media when we can just, nab him in the draft when, no one else sees it coming. And then, I just think that's kind of where you have to look about the whole draft process, because it's interesting. You have your moments where, like Kyler Murray, for instance, just canceled his visit with the Redskins. Like, why did he do that? Who knows? But that's kind of the process is just strange, man. So I would never look too much into that for sure. And I mean, obviously, we'd love to see you as a Ram. And if not, it doesn't really matter because, if you're not a Ram, we're still going to be rooting for you, regardless of the helmet that you are, wearing on Sunday. So, just really appreciate you. Just really appreciate you coming on, man. We'll definitely be rooting for you.
So trust me. Thank you again. Thank you for the opportunity. It feels good to know that somebody out there noticing the work that I'm putting in.
Of course, yeah. We'll keep in touch, and we look forward to seeing what you do and seeing you succeed.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely, Floyd. You take care of yourself. You keep grinding and stay healthy. And and like Alexis said, we'll keep in touch. And if you ever need anything, just let us know.
Okay, thank you.